Three powerful cutting tips that isn't just a generic eat in a caloric deficit, all of that stuff. These are things that I've rarely spoken about in the past before, and these were extremely powerful in my fat loss journey. So let's talk about it. When you're on a cut, when you want to get shredded, when you want to diet down and lose weight, it can seem like it's a really complicated process. It's really not. Essentially, it comes down to calories in versus calories out. That's the basic science of it. But there's a lot of mental discipline that goes into it as well, especially when you're restricting food, when you are controlling your own cravings, when you have to diet down. There's a lot of things that takes place. There's a lot of challenges that you come across, and there's a lot of things you learn about yourself as well. I'm going to talk about three things that I sort of went through and I think will be highly beneficial for other people to get on top of and practice so that they can have a successful cut. I honestly think if you can't master these three things, you're not going to have a successful cut. It's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be very healthy. So pay attention. Number one, and I hear this so much, this is the most common thing that I come across, is don't rush the process. The amount of people that I've come across that want to lose weight really fast, a lot of older people that want to lose weight really fast, or they want to lose tummy weight really fast, and there's just so much misinformation out there around, spot reducing fat and how fast you can realistically lose weight, because they see celebrities go from movie to movie, lose tons of weight really quick, but they're also on PEDs. They also do extreme measures to get to that point, which is what a lot of people don't understand. So don't rush the process. Your body is smart. Your body's gonna know if you're rushing the process, and what it's gonna do is, if you crash diet for 6-12 weeks, you're gonna put the weight back on just as fast as you lost it, and even faster. So it's not sustainable. Rushing the process, you have to take your time, take it nice and slow and steady. That's a successful cut right there. You want to take it nice and slow and steady. It shouldn't even feel like a cut, if that makes sense. You shouldn't be hungry straight off the bat. Day one of dieting, day one of cutting, you should not be feeling hungry. You should not be starving yourself. So don't rush the process. So you have to tell yourself, this is one of the most important things that I've had to come across, is if you don't, obviously if there's a date, if you're competing or something like that, there's a date there, put a realistic expectation on the timeline. Don't be like, I want to lose this much weight. Don't have an idea of exactly how much weight you want to lose by a certain period of time, because weight is, it could be muscle as well. I don't know how lean I'm going to get. I don't know what weight I'm going to be when I get really lean. I can't be like, I want to lose 4 kilos by this, because I don't know how I'm going to look like 4 kilos leaner. Like, you don't know how you're going to look like. Even the same goes with the opposite. If you want to bulk, if you want to become 4 kilos heavier, how do you know what you're going to look like 4 kilos? Where did you even get that number from? So I would say, don't have a particular number. Have a visual expectation of how you want to look. There's no point having like, I want to be this weight, I want to be this percent body fat. No, because a lot of times your perception of body fat and weight is skewed, especially when you're comparing the people online on social media, in movies. It's really skewed. So have a visual representation, have a visual idea of how you want to look like. That's what I did. I didn't have a goal weight. I just knew how I wanted to look like. And as I got leaner and leaner, I have an idea of how I'm going to look like once I'm below 80 kilos, once I'm 78, 77 kilos. So don't rush the process. Take it nice and slow. You should be losing at least roughly 1% of your body weight every single week. 1%. So that's a healthy, sustainable goal. And don't rush the process. There's just no point of rushing the process. Number 2 is your drive. Obviously, cutting takes a lot of motivation. You need to be motivated. You need to be disciplined and consistent on a lot of things. And this is something that I've learned pretty recent, in the past year and a half, is how much you can create drive in yourself. If you feel like you have zero motivation, if you feel like you have no drive to lose weight, to look a certain way, it essentially comes down to your dopamine levels. Everything you do, every activity you do has a dopamine spike, and once it spikes up, it doesn't go back to baseline. It goes below baseline, which is why, after drinking pre-workout, there's a crash. After a big night out, alcohol, you crash, you have a hangover the next morning. Everything that goes up high has to come down. And a lot of times when dopamine is spiked, it comes back down, almost reverses exactly how it went up, comes back down. So there's a lot of things that you can focus on to really balance out your dopamine levels, bring them to a normal point. And some of the things that you can do is, if you watch porn, quit watching porn. Take less time on your phone, watching Netflix. Spend less screen time, and just in general, like, do things. So quit watching porn, spend less time on your phone, spend less time around screens, spend more time outside. These little things that you do, these little tasks that you take, what actually happens, what I found to happen is I started to become more driven. I started to actually get more motivated, and it was easier for me to get into a discipline once I did these things. Once, I quit watching porn. Once I spent less time watching shows. I don't even remember when the last time I watched a show was. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have no fun at all, but everything should be in balance. Everything should be balanced. And another thing that I like to do every now and then, which I'm doing right now, is taking a break from caffeine, because caffeine also spikes your dopamine. I'm taking my tea break off of caffeine because I've been using it so long, and it's gotten to a point where I don't feel like I could train without caffeine, and that's a really dangerous point to be at. So what I'm going to do now is go off caffeine and start to bring it in maybe after a month, only on days where I feel like I really need it. So I'm training legs, or if I feel really sleepy, rare occasions I'll take pre-workout. But pre-workout is something that I slowly want to control. I don't want to phase off. Obviously, pre-workout is a really powerful supplement, and I stand by pre-workout. It's helped me so much, but there has to be some kind of control there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slowly come off slightly, and then slowly introduce it on days where I really need it. And on days that I don't need it, I'll probably look into a non-stim pre-workout or something similar, something like that, just to get me going in the gym. But caffeine, it's a really powerful thing. And same with anything else that spikes dopamine, you want to keep it controlled. You want to, make sure that, obviously, things that massively waste your time, like watching porn, cut that out completely. Just doing that, just cutting out porn, you will see such a big difference in your dopamine levels, in your focus, in your drive. It's crazy. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. So I made a video about this. You can check out right here. That's my experience, but that's one of the most powerful things that I've done. So dopamine levels, there are ways that you can sort of hack your body's natural dopamine levels. Not necessarily hack, but bring them down to a baseline level. So you're not, always going up and crash, and you sort of get it from healthy activity like working out. Working out gives you a natural release of dopamine. So that's something that I've done, and I found that was why I lacked motivation, because I was doing all these different things that took my dopamine out, that gave me that short-term pleasure, that I just crashed and I couldn't do anything that I actually wanted to do. So that's what I found to have helped me with my motivation and my drive. Number 3 is cutting out negative influences. What do I mean by this? I mean, not everyone's going to be on the same journey as you. Not everyone's going to be on the same weight loss journey as you. And you're going to be put in situations where you have to make choices. And you have to learn how to say no to things. You have to learn how to say no. No to food, no to events, no to going out. And I'm not saying you can't have fun at all, but the reason why you have to learn to say no is you have to sort of put it into perspective. What's more important? Are your goals more important? or is going out every single weekend more important? You can obviously go out and have a good time. I'm not saying don't have fun at all, but at some point you really have to take a step back and look at the balance that you have. Is it really balanced? Are you really balancing your health, your goals, whatever you want to do, with, pleasure, short-term pleasure, with things like going out, getting drunk, drinking alcohol. So you have to, at some point, cut out negative influences. And that doesn't mean cutting out friends. That doesn't mean, saying no to any social event. You don't have to become a social hermit, but you can still go out. You can still go out, have fun with your friends. Just say no to alcohol. Or at the very least, stop at 2 standard drinks. Make it fit within your macros. Make it fit with your lifestyle. Say no at some point. Or if you're going out to eat with your friends, if you're going out to dinner, choose a macro-friendly place, or say no to that extra calorie. Say no to dessert. Say no to those junk foods. Pick the healthiest food that you can. That's what I mean by saying no. If your friends order some entree that's, cooked in oil, saying no. You have to learn how to say no. And if you don't learn how to say no, you're not going to be successful in your cutting journey. So saying no to friends, to family, it builds a discipline. And the more you practice it, the better you're going to get at it, at saying no. And it's just choices you have to make at the end of the day. Like, everything is a choice. Every choice you take can either bring you closer towards your goal or put you off track from your goal. And you can always get back on track. But if you're constantly getting off track and coming back on, off track, coming back on, you're wasting time. Why not get to your goal as quick as you can? Because that life is always going to be there. Going out, having fun with friends and family. Obviously, don't cut it out completely, but you have to sort of balance it out. You have to look at the pros and cons. Go out, don't eat. But another thing you have to really focus in on is sleep as well. How many times are you willing to risk getting good amounts of sleep, even on weekends? Because your body doesn't know if it's a weekday or a weekend. Your body just wants to sleep on time. So I would say as much as you can, as much as you realistically can, focus on getting in good quality sleep at the same time every single night. That's going to make such a big difference on how you feel, on your drive and your motivation and your routine, consistency. So these are 3 things that have really helped me. I really hope you guys got something from this. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one.